Good evening, friends, ladies, gentlemen, the odd children and odder dogs. Right, this is by way of an explanation why there isn't too much video in the next video. This week there has been a collection of horrific things happened across the world. One in particular comes very close to my home. You will have seen that a suburb of Rouen in France, in Normandy, had a most evil event. A priest, a very, very old priest, was serving Mass to a small congregation, and he was murdered. Each of us will have our own thoughts about that. I'll leave it with, it upset me deeply. I'll leave you with, I think it's a horrendous and most evil act. But I suspect that the priest who was murdered would still tell us to forgive and to try to love a little more. I could go on that subject for a very long time, but people far better qualified than me already have. But it goes some way to describe or to explain part of why my next video is fairly short. Yesterday, which was Wednesday the 27th of July, I went from where I live in Leigh-on-Sea down to Dover, which is that way, where I went through French immigration procedures for a day trip to France and Belgium. Then we went across the ferry to Calais, and when we arrived at the port of Calais, everything was pretty normal. Everything was fairly quiet, the traffic was flowing quite sweetly. But dotted around the port of Calais were soldiers. Now, I know many of you will exchange banter about the quality of French soldiers. I've known soldiers, American, British. These soldiers were serious soldiers. These were fighting soldiers. They looked very, very proficient. They were heavily armed. And they didn't interfere with me at all. They stood there. I was pleased to see them. They were there to protect me as much as everybody else. Anyway, drove from Calais up the road into Belgium to Ostend. And you'll see some film of Ostend. Not a lot. I've already filmed bits of Ostend in the past. Ostend is a beautiful town. Lots of fantastic restaurants, good shops. Yeah, plenty to see there. Didn't actually film too much of it because it started raining. Then drove back to France, and getting to the French border with Belgium, which is always open, Belgium and France and Germany and Holland, they're all part of an agreement that says the borders are open. You know, Germans can go to France and French people can go to Holland, and it's a big happy arrangement. But yesterday was not happy. Coming down the road to France, we got tipped off the fast road, and we were fed very slowly round a roundabout, on which stood a gang of French police. Now these French policemen are all big fellas, and they'd all got weapons. I don't know what French policemen carry, but sort of look like the sort of weapons that would hurt if they pointed them at you. And these French policemen were supported by more French soldiers. I tried to read the divisional badges, but I couldn't work out what regiments they were. But again, serious fighting soldiers with some pretty impressive weapons. Well, they didn't choose to stop me. I guess I look fairly innocuous, and I went on down to the port of Calais, where there were more French soldiers, young men, you know, men in their early 30s, tough, hard fighting soldiers with, I don't know what sort of assault rifles they are, but I could see that they were well looked after. I wasn't going to argue with them, and they were very, very polite and very decent towards me, and they said, "Over there, monsieur," you know, and it was all good. They were stopping some cars. They were searching cars. Yeah, they are there to protect me, and of course to protect me in my home in England as much as people in their homes in Normandy. But the reason that I didn't video much of this, I just have a theory, partly based on experience. If you have a bad feeling that something bad could happen, and if you think that something bad might involve people pointing weapons at you, and someone comes around the corner of a roundabout aiming something that all you can see is the end of it, they might have got excitable. They might have chosen to stop me and to ask me all sorts of questions, and they might not have wanted their images spread all over YouTube. So I didn't film. I chose not to. I put the camera down. I drove carefully through these bunches of soldiers there to protect my brotherhood, my liberty, my equalness. Anyway, that's enough of me jabbering. I'm going to go and edit up all of the bits and pieces of film. As I say, not much film of Belgium and France, a little bit. Enjoy.